Hey everybody, it's Stitch 1993 and back here again with my wife Shelby.
Hey everyone!
And we're doing another Let's Talk About Movies We Own. If you're new to these videos, what happens is we have over 1,300 movies physically owned between DVD and Blu-ray, and eventually we'll talk about our VHS collection as well. And we just kind of been going genre by genre in alphabetical order, talking about our thoughts on each of them, and we've gone over so far action adventure, comedy, animation, Disney, holiday, horror, and a Criterion collection and documentary. So now we're on to drama. I believe this is part 3, and we go over about 13 movies-ish, just giving each of our thoughts, one more than the other if it's one that one of us enjoys, and sometimes we both enjoy it or both have thoughts on it one way or another. And so we are now starting with the G's in the drama section. And the first one is Girl on the Train. I'm going to let you start with this one because this was a movie you saw in theaters, and I later watched it when we got it on DVD at home.
Yeah, so it really reads like your basic true crime story, but it's based off a book. It's your basic story of there's two separate families, there's an affair going on between the two families, one of them mysteriously turns up missing, later found to be deceased, and you're trying to figure out what happened. Well, if you are well versed in the true crime world, you know exactly what happened, you know exactly who did it. So that takes away a little bit of the mystery of it all. But if you're somebody who doesn't really watch a lot of true crime, because this plays out so much like your regular true crime case, you might have a little more fun trying to figure out what was going on. The really messed up thing with this is the male lead is really messed up. Like, he is just a serial abuser. But it takes a while to figure that out going through the movie. Like, you figure out he abused his first wife, he's abusing his current wife, and then he's the one who kills his mistress. So, it is that kind of a movie. I definitely see it geared more towards, women viewing, because we tend to watch those types of things more often. You didn't really seem to care too much for it.
I didn't. I did kind of figure out stuff pretty quickly about what was going on, because it's basically he's gaslighting her. Yeah. But I don't remember what is the... Okay, so the title's called Girl on the Train. I know it's like Emily Blunt. She takes the train to and from work every day, and she sees this house where everything is going down, but I'm trying to remember her connection to it all.
So it's not even she's going to work. She's like getting on the train like she's going to work because she's been fired. So she's just kind of going through the motions. She's depressed.
Mm-hmm.
The people she's seeing through the train are her ex-husband and his new wife, and their neighbors, who the wife of that family is also the nanny for his child and his mistress.
Gotcha.
So she's seeing that play out, and then she's around when the mistress / nanny gets killed.
Mm-hmm.
And you find out throughout the course of the movie that, she became an alcoholic because she was infertile, and it really depressed her. And then during her drinking binges, he would then plant false stories for her of what was actually going on.
Right, I remember that.
And would be the one actually abusing her, and she would just assume she got hurt because she was drunk.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah, really dark movie there.
Yeah.
But as you said, there's a specific, set of people that just really like those type of stories, those type of movies and TV shows and stuff. So.
And it's also kind of if you're showing something like this to like a teen girl, it's kind of these are the things to look out for as you go into the dating world.
Red flags.
Red flags to look out for. Mm. And I'm all for, teaching our teens, kind of young but not too young, about, what's out there.
Yeah. Next is Gifted. And this was, I believe, the introduction, or at least introduction to me, for McKenna Grace, who's
Yeah.
gone on to just do a whole slew of great movies. She's great acting, but she's like, she's probably older than what she's portraying in the movie. But I think she's what's supposed to be like
First grade.
first grade. Yeah, it's just about this really smart girl that is able to like basically Matilda without the magic kind of thing. She literally is like just a walking calculator, and we eventually find out that she's she's being adopted or like being taken care of by her
Her uncle,
Her
because her
uncle.
mother has passed.
right. And the thing is, like, this is like a family gene because it's her mom that also has that sort of thing and was like working on some sort of formula and like locked it away because she either didn't know how to finish it or was just taking so much brain power that, and then McKenna's character just kind of automatically figures it out as soon as she sees the paperwork or fixes it, because the grandmother is like the villain in this movie,
And she
And-
wants to.
and she was the one kind of basically working her daughter to the brink of what happened and is trying to get custody of the granddaughter once she finds out that she too has
So-
that gift.
When the grandmother finds out that Mary is this super smart kid, that's when she becomes interested in her.
Right.
That's when she wants to actually have a relationship with her, and it's not even a
Yeah, because
relationship.
beforehand she just does not.
She's
care
not
about-
involved.
Right.
Um,
Because this is the formula that both of them figure out, like the mom and then eventually the daughter figure out, is like some big, change the world, change scientific thing.
honestly, it's a math thing, and I don't do math.
But I'm just saying for that, like that's why it's not just any math problem. It's like one of the
It's one of the big unanswered
big
things.
unsolvable things that she just kind of figures out. So, but yeah, but like it's got Chris Evans in it being Chris Evans.
It's not even Chris Evans being Chris Evans. This was like the first movie I saw Chris Evans in where I'm just like, okay, so he's not just Captain America or a funny dude. He actually knows how to really act.
Was this like before or after was it
We saw this
Knives?
before Knives Out.
Okay.
So I think this was before it. If not,
But he
we
was
saw this
still-
first.
I mean, what is it?
We didn't watch
not,
anything
Not
else.
Civil War, but what's the one with Bucky Barnes in it? The first one,
when the first
Winter Soldier.
Winter Soldier.
He was doing some pretty good drama, not in the Captain America form acting. So we knew he could act.
Yeah, but with that, okay, so with a lot of the Marvel actors, for me, Marvel's kind of like its own bubble. You have to stay true to the character, and like you can do that character. It was good to see him do something that wasn't Captain America.
But he's still kind of playing. He's just not Captain America. He's just a nice dude trying to raise this kid as a kid and not as this little scientific marvel.
Yeah, I mean he's working so hard to just let her be a kid. Sometimes a little bit to her detriment because she's like, I don't want to do that. I do want to do the smart stuff. I just don't want to do it all the time.
Yeah. But yeah, that was a great movie. It has Octavia Spencer in it being basically is she the teacher or she's the person that checks in on the kid?
She's a social worker.
She's a
I
social
believe.
worker. Okay.
Because the teacher is Jenny Slate.
Oh yeah, that's right.
And that was another like good surprise because when she popped up, I was just expecting
That was the
Mona
surprise.
Lisa.
Now, see, like Chris Evans, I'm like, he can act. I know he can act. Jenny Slate, I only knew her from
Her like couple episodes of Parks and Rec.
Parks and Rec. So I'm just like, I know she can do comedy pretty well. But yeah, this was definitely more of a surprise for me for Jenny Slate than of Chris Evans. Goodbye, Christopher Robin. This was interesting. It's like, okay, so I believe this one came out first, but it was like Goodbye, Christopher Robin, and then Walt Disney's Christopher Robin came out within like a year of each other.
Yeah.
And it was like, it was funny because people started like switch, the names started getting confusing, which one was which. Was the Disney Christopher Robin, we've already gone over in one of our Disney videos. So if you want to hear our thoughts on that one, check that video out. We're not going to go over in this one, but that one is a fantasy just based off of the already pre-existing Walt Disney Winnie the Pooh lore, whereas Goodbye Christopher Robin is an attempt at a biopic about
Christopher Robin and his dad.
Christopher Robin and Alan Milne, and like how him kind of working with the kid kind of helps with his PTSD because he's coming out of World War One. And this is just kind of it starts out just being kind of, making up the stories for Winnie the Pooh and the characters just to get his mind off of the PTSD and stuff like that. But knowing, how big the franchise is, even way back then, it was really popular as soon as the first book came out. So it suddenly started shifting away from, let's do this for my son, to financial reasons, and it that becomes the kind of wedge between, he and his son were growing pretty close together until that happened, and then that kind of wedges them apart until much, much later in life. That they go through Christopher Robin growing up and then being drafted to World War II, and all that goes down with that. And then we also have Margot Robbie playing Daphne Milne, who has postpartum depression, so she's already pretty distant from the son because of that. So it's mostly Donald Gleason and
Zoe McDonald.
Yeah, being the parents for this kid there, and I think it does a pretty good job. I don't know if this is based off any specific biographical book or just story straight from Robin or straight from Milne or whomever, but I felt it did a pretty good job. And of course all those actors are in there. The adult actors are top of their league kind of acting, know what they're doing. So I kind of wasn't going in and getting surprised by anybody acting. The kid was really good for a kid actor for what he was being asked to do and say there. What were your thoughts on this one?
I remember being really impressed with the little boy playing Christopher Robin because he did such a good job, especially as the movie progresses and he has to kind of portray Christopher getting more and more disillusioned with my dad's writing these books and now all these big things are happening and I don't have time to be a kid anymore.
Right.
So yeah, I was really impressed with that. Kelly MacDonald's always fun to watch.
She's the Brave. She's the girl from Brave.
She's
right?
Merida.
Merida and Brave. Yeah. And you can tell as soon as she opens her mouth.
As soon as she starts talking.
But yeah. Okay, so the next one is The Great Escape, which I did grow up watching. I enjoyed it. I want to say this is based on a true story, but this was made in the 50s, so I don't know how, or 60s, so I don't know how accurate it was. But it's a pretty packed cast for that time. You've got Steve McQueen as the main guy there, James Gardner, a very young Richard Attenborough, which if that name rings a bell, he's the dude with the white beard. I forget his name right now, but the guy from Jurassic Park. And then also the 1990s version of Miracle on 34th Street. You got Charles Bronson, Donald Pleasance, James Coburn, just to name a handful of them. There's more to them. And yeah, that's about these American soldiers that they become prisoners of war at a Nazi camp, and basically they are trying to escape. Not just one or two of them, but literally almost all of them. And it shows all the nifty mechanics and stuff they get around, like digging the tunnels and creating the ventilators and mapping everything out and planning the day of or the night really of when they're going to escape. And later on, one of the main people that's like planning everything, because he's doing everything at night by sometimes candlelight, sometimes not even that, just straight up in the dark. That causes him to lose most of his eyesight, so by the time it gets to them escaping, he's blind. And they all work off of each other really well. I know you've seen this one at least once.
Yeah, I've only seen it once. I don't remember much of it. You showed this to me very early in our relationship, and it was during a time I was working like hellish hours, so most of those movies are...
You're going to go back and watch that one then.
They're just kind of faded.
Gotcha.
I do remember the performances were good. I remember liking everyone's, like how everyone meshed well together. But I can't remember specific plot points.
Mm-hmm. The Great Gatsby, it's this is the 2013 version with Leonardo DiCaprio. Leonardo DiCaprio and Tobey Maguire and Carey Mulligan. It's fine. It's The Great Gatsby. If you've seen one version of it, you've seen them all. This one's just a bit more flashier because it's directed by Baz Luhrmann. So if you've seen his films, you kind of know what you're getting into. I know some people were complaining that they used, for the time, contemporary music for some of the scenes, like when the balls are going on at Mr. Gatsby's place. I didn't mind it. I didn't really care. But yeah, I've read the book and I watched I think it was like the 1960s version in high school. I enjoyed that version more just because it was more down to earth, for lack of better words, version of it. But I didn't mind this more flashier type of look at it too, because of course it's going to be that way because Mr. Gatsby is basically, this multi-millionaire kind of dude at the time. Yeah, but your thoughts?
I prefer this one over the Robert Redford one, mostly because I'm not a Robert Redford fan. I don't like the dude. But also, I am a sucker for period pieces. I'm also a sucker for period pieces that really lean into the opulence of the time period they take place in. And that's one thing I thought the Robert Redford one was lacking. It felt too plain for the story it was trying to tell. Whereas this one, it leans more into it, so as the drama's unfolding, you kind of really get a hint of the affluenza that's going on with everything else. So, yeah, I prefer this one. I like the acting better in this one. I am a sucker for Tobey Maguire films.
That's fair. He did a really good job. I mean, it's Tobey Maguire.
It's Tobey Maguire.
But he did do a really good job in this.
And I love Carey Mulligan.
Oh, yeah, of course.
This has a better cast. This has, better chemistry with the cast. And then I have a love-hate relationship with Baz Luhrmann movies. Like, half of them I love, half of them I can't stand.
I'm sure. I think that's for most people. I think I can even say some of his films I don't like, as opposed to others.
Like this and Moulin Rouge, love it. I didn't care for the Elvis movie he did, and I can't stand Romeo and Juliet.
That's fair. The Greatest Show on Earth was, I don't know. I mean, it is. I do enjoy this movie, but I don't know how to recommend it to people because it's not like it's a bunch of vignettes. There is an overarching plot of there's an escaped murderer, technically speaking. And by technically, I mean he didn't. It's not like a serial killer kind of thing. He basically, like, this was like the 1950s where this took place. So he basically assisted in suicide of this one person, but that's illegal back then and pretty much is today outside of some
states.
some countries.
And then it has to be doctor assisted, not
Yeah.
rando assisted.
Well, this was a doctor that did it. So the doctor, flees and joins the circus, and he stays in makeup the whole time, just so people don't recognize him. He stays in makeup when he's around people. He takes it off when he's alone in his room, but anytime he has to literally talk with anybody, he has the makeup on. But this has got a stat cast for its time because it's got Cornel Wilde, Betty Hutton, Charlton Heston, Dorothy Lamour, Emmett Kelly as himself, and James Stewart is in this. And it is literally just about days or in the life of the people that work the circus and everything, from the acrobats to the animal tamers to the people running at that time there was usually like games you could play, kind of like a fair, so you see a bit into their life, the clowns and everything in between there. And the ending is just like this one big giant kind of epic ending, because the train derails and a whole bunch of stuff happens. Some people live, happily ever after, whereas some people don't really get their comeuppance per se, but they do get caught. And we just don't know what's going to end up happening to them, sort of thing. But it's like one of those films I'm like, I love it. It's great. I don't know how to recommend it to people because it's like you got to be in the right mood for it. You got to be okay with watching clowns, not in a horror, but just in general. You got to be really in the mood just for this type of movie. Whereas I can just kind of pop this on whenever. It came on Turner Classic Movies a lot growing up, so that's how I got introduced to it. But I know you don't really enjoy this one because of the clowns.
I'm terrified of clowns.
Yeah, I know.
So I know I've only seen this one once. I have no desire to watch it again because all I can remember is the clowns and I had nightmares. So I'm good.
Green Mile, I don't know what to say about this one. That not everybody and their uncle, sister, and brother haven't already said about this. Tom Hanks is great. Michael Clark Duncan is great. Bonnie Hunt is great. David Moore is great. Everybody's great in this. There's a little bit, of a, would it be fantasy in it?
Yeah, it's got a tiny little bit of fantasy
in it. It's hinted that basically Tom Hanks is living forever, or at least aging much slower than usual because of Michael Clark Duncan's character. Yeah, have you got anything to add?
I don't have anything to add that hasn't already been said, but Michael Clark Duncan's performance in this is one of those acting performances that has stuck with me basically my entire life.
Yeah, I'm sure he's, since that movie came out, I'm sure thousands of actors and actresses have studied that, his performance.
Because he plays it so tenderly.
He does. He really does.
And I cry every single time I watch that movie.
To be fair, it is Michael Clark Duncan, so...
He's fantastic.
Yeah.
The world is a darker place without him in it.
Yeah.
And then playing off against Tom Hanks, you got these two like masterclass actors just literally giving it their all. I mean, this is one of those movies that come to mind when you start thinking about Tom Hanks roles.
Right.
It's Toy Story, it's Forrest Gump, it's Philadelphia. Mm-hmm. It's, outside of Toy Story, these like great dramatic roles.
Right.
And he's got like a really good comedic timing as well, but he's so talented. Mm-hmm. And then pairing him up with Michael Clark Duncan, who just absolutely kills it. It's amazing.
And then Tom Hanks also working off of Bonnie Hunt and David Moore and James Cromwell and everybody else that are like his wife and the other people at the precinct. They really all bring
work
their
so well together. This is another case of just a very well put together cast. Everyone had great chemistry together. It's even though it's more of a fantastical story, the emotions that everyone's giving makes it more believable.
Right. Yeah, because the fantasy stuff doesn't really come in until like the second half of the movie, and even then it's really played really low up until like the last maybe 20 or so minutes, if that, of the film there. Next is Harriet, which we saw recently. This came out just a couple years back. Was it 2020?
2019.
2019? Okay, so more than just a couple years. I thought it was like more recent than that, but man, that was a big year, so we didn't get to see this in theaters because literally everything came out that year. This was my first introduction to Cynthia Erivo. I had already known about Leslie Odom Jr. From Hamilton, but this was good just seeing him act and not on a stage, like singing, just him being an actor. And we also got, Joe Allen and Clark Peters and a bunch of other great actors here. It is the story of Harriet Tubman and the Underground Railroad there. And, this has been done before. There's been Harriet Tubman movies in the past. This is just the most recent one. I haven't seen other ones, so I don't know if I can say this is the best one, but it is a really good one. And if you are wanting to look into history of that, might as well watch the most recent one. That's probably going to have the most, I hope, historical accuracy to it. Overall, your thoughts?
So, I was already like really familiar with Cynthia Erivo because I am a theater nut, and Leslie Odom Jr. again because theater nut. So I was not surprised that they absolutely killed it in this. I had complete faith they were going to do well. The surprise for me was there is a country singer in this movie. Mm-hmm. She plays the plantation owner's wife. It's Jennifer Nettle. She's the lead singer of Sugarland. She did such a good job for someone who's not known for acting. Like,
do you know the name of the person?
Yeah, Jennifer Nettles.
Oh, Jennifer Nettles. Okay.
And I was surprised how well she did, because normally, especially with a lot of country singers, if they're showing up in a movie, they're not going to be that great in the movie. They're just kind of there to be there. But she did such a good job making me hate her in this movie, and every time you see her in like anything else, she's like the sweetest woman. Mm-hmm. So to take someone that I'm a genuine fan of and legitimately make me hate them in this film,
right,
was so impressive. And then with Cynthia Erivo's performance, it was such a strong performance that, I was already familiar with her for like The Color Purple stage production, and then seeing her do Harriet Tubman was almost night and day, because she's Celie in The Color Purple.
Oh.
So she's the lead there, she's the lead here, but they're two very different characters. And it was kind of cool. Like, I really like when I get to see like that kind of a difference in portrayals. And now she's Elphaba, and it's like it's another whole different take, a whole different style performance. So I think she's really going to be one of those performers that we talk about for years, mm-hmm. with the type of roles that she's doing, because she's doing very different ones each time. She's not like letting herself be put in a corner.
Right.
And it's so cool to watch. And then Leslie Odom Jr. is Leslie Odom Jr. He's amazing.
I do want to see him in more things.
I do.
I get it. He's busy with stage stuff, but I'm always interested when really any of the Hamilton cast goes on and does something in either film or television that's not a musical.
With him in particular, it's been really fun watching him grow as a performer, because I remember when he was just a bit part in an episode of Gilmore Girls.
Oh, wow, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
So it was really cool after Hamilton came out, and, they're showing the cast footage and everything, going back and doing my yearly rewatch of that, and go, oh, wait a second. It's Mr. Aaron Burr.
Harvey is one it probably is about the same as The Great Escape, where I showed it to you early in our relationship, and we haven't gone back and rewatched it. And it's kind of an odd movie just in general, but it's a really fun one to watch. So it's James Stewart, who has this imaginary 7-foot tall rabbit as a friend called Harvey, he's just the sweetest guy, but people just, think he's a little nuts. He probably needs to be committed. And he in his charming way that James Stewart is, talks his way out of being committed. But it's just fun seeing him, and eventually you never see Harvey, but eventually Harvey does appear, if that makes sense.
Doesn't he appear in like a shadow?
The shadow is there for the posters, but I don't believe you ever see like any resemblance of an actual physical creature. But he does like play jokes on some of the other stuff, because they do explain what Harvey is in the movie. He's not just an imaginary friend. He's just like basically like a fantasy sort of creature, sort of like a fairy, but not really. Trying to think of the right creature, but it's not coming to me. But kind of just one of those that just likes to play tricks on people, kind of like a gremlin, but not really. And they can take the shape of really anything. And to James Stewart's character, he takes the shape of a giant rabbit. There's no voiceover, so it's not like he's talking. James talks to him, but you never hear the responses back. It is funny because what's his name? Jesse White's character is like the warden of the hospital and stuff. He's the one that like reads the dictionary of the what Harvey actually is, and Harvey messes with the book, so suddenly he's talking to him through the book, and it's a weird scene to explain, but when you watch it, it's hilarious. Just his reaction and what happens. I don't know if you remember this one at all or not.
I don't remember specific plot points, but I do remember just kind of having a good time, like I do with most James Stewart movies. I also, because I went back and rewatched the trailer, one of the ants from Arsenic and Old Lace is in this.
Yes. Yep.
Which is another way you got me to sit down and watch it, because you were just like, it's James Stewart, and it's one of the ants from Arsenic and Old Lace. I'm like, yay!
Hidden Figures, that was a movie we saw in theaters together, just kind of on a whim, because what happened was, it was like, we were both getting off of work late, and I got off work first, she got off work last. You were closing that night, right? Or you had a late shift to where it was already nighttime by the time you were done.
I had kids club that night.
That's right. So we get off work, and it is raining, and we don't have a car at this time. We're waiting for the bus, and we're just like, hey, why don't we like go see a movie, wait for all this traffic to die down, and then like get a Uber or Lyft or something to ride home, whatever's playing closest to that time that we get to the theater, because the theater's like literally right across the street from where you work. We'll go and watch it, and Hidden Figures was the thing that was probably like 10-15 minutes away. So we're like, yeah, sure, we'll watch it. We like, the main cast that's in there: Taraji P. Henson, Octavia Spencer. I think this was my first introduction to Janelle Monáe.
As an actor, yeah, because I knew her as a music artist before I saw this.
And then you also have like Kirsten Dunst, Kevin Costner, Jim Parsons, among other people that show up.
Mahershala Ali.
Thank you. Showing up. That also are doing a fantastic job. And the story's about they're called computers, but they're women, but they're the women behind getting the first rocket. It's not to the moon, but it's first rocket into orbit, from what I
think so.
remember. They probably also most likely helped with getting the first man on the moon, but I know the main thing was figuring out the trajectory to get the ship into orbit, and all the scientific stuff that comes with that. Mainly focusing on Taraji's character, which is great because I've seen her in other things, and this was like totally opposite of what she like usually plays.
Yeah, this was my favorite performance from her.
Yeah. I don't know. I think for favorite performance, it still goes to Annie for me, but this is up there. So Octavia Spencer is like it's Octavia Spencer. You're always going to have a good time. She's
I'll
a great
pretty much watch
actress.
anything with
Yeah, I'll
Octavia
pretty much
Spencer
watch
in
anything
it.
with it. And so yeah, so this if you like NASA style movies from around this time period, like was it Space Cowboys, Apollo 13, stuff like that. This is around that. This is going to be, if you like those movies, you're going to like this. What were your thoughts on the film?
I really enjoyed this one, and I kind of like that for a lot of these actors. It was a little bit of, again, like a detour from what they normally
Playing
do. Like
against
this was different than what I usually would see Taraji P. Henson in it. It was a completely different role for Jim Parsons that I'm used to. I felt a little bit more interested in Kevin Costner in this one, because most of the time he's playing almost the most bland character in the movie. Where, yeah, he's still not the most interesting one in this, but he's trying harder, I guess. So, like, he's
Didn't
more...
like him in Robin Hood?
Like, he's good in Robin Hood, but, like, most of his stuff, he's like, the least interesting
He's
part.
very stoic.
Yes.
He's very stoic.
And this, like, he emotes a little more for this. He puts a little bit more out for this.
Okay.
Because, he's the one working with the woman the most.
Right.
So he's the one that, starts feeling their pain a little bit more and has to go to bat to them for some.
Right. Hugo is a film that at first I hated, and then I absolutely loved it. And the only reason why I first hated it was because when I saw the trailers, I thought it was going to be like this this is by Scorsese. And it looked like it was going to be Scorsese's attempt at a fantasy film, because all the trailers really focused on Hugo living in the clock tower and working on the automaton, and it made it seem like the automaton was like an actual like robot that was going to like talk and move around and stuff. No, like people started coming out and just like no, it's totally not that. It's not a fantasy movie per se, but it is a really good film. So I was just like, what? I thought this was just like a fantasy film. No, it's kind of in a way very loosely biographical. And then I finally rented it and watched it, and oh my god, if they had said that this was like, I mean, I've never read the book, so because it was just about the title's called Hugo. I'm thinking anything else but George Méliès, I hope I'm pronouncing that right, is what this book / movie is going to be about. But yeah, it's about George Méliès, which for those who don't know is like the great grandfather of special effects movies. Like his most famous film is Man on the Moon, the rocket in the moon with the face and it like stabs him in the eye. That's George Méliès. He did a whole bunch of those type of films where it's just like lots of practical effects, beautiful background art, really great costumes, and this is before we would do that a lot in those films. Like this was like, the silent era films where it was just basically like, let's just film stuff and film it quick and get these movies out because they're so cheap to make, and like you only had like a couple big actors at the time like Charlie Chaplin, Buster Keaton, and stuff like that. So like his films were like Tim Burton and Steven Spielberg and George Scorsese before all those people, and it's just like but he fell on hard times and stuff, and he like literally destroyed most of his films. Like his films are literally lost media because he destroyed the negatives for them out of spite, out of depression, whatever. So the story is about Hugo Cabaret, played by Asa Butterfield, and eventually Chloe Grace Moretz, finding this automaton that is basically like an ad for Man on the Moon, because once he figures out how to get it to work, it draws the poster for Man on the Moon. And they show that to Michael Stuhlbarg's character, and he's just like, holy crap, you've found like this lost piece of media there. And Chloe's just like, oh yeah, that's my grandfather, and that has the key that made this open. And she's like, and Michael's like, hold on, your grandfather is George Millet? And then you find out that this shopkeeper that's just kind of like making little tinker toys and stuff is just like this famous filmmaker. And you find that he did keep some of his reels, and they show like the actual reels of this amazing artwork. If you've never seen George Millet's film, or you've just seen Man on the Moon, you are missing out on some fantastic film media history there. And I'd highly it's all on YouTube, or there's some collections out there on Blu-ray and stuff. Definitely check that out. But yeah, and there's this whole side story with Sacha Baron Cohen's character being the inspector, trying to chase down and capture Asa Butterfield's character. It could have done without that, but it creates some, an antagonist for the movie where it really didn't need one, in my opinion. But the great, awesome film. Your thoughts?
I was okay with it. I'm not a huge fan of it because, again, I did see the trailers. I felt like I was all lied to, and I'm not as big of a super fan of Malaise as you are. So yeah, it's kind of cool, but it's not really my thing. The kids were cool. Ben Kingsley is good, but he's always good. Was surprised to see Richard Griffiths in it. But that's about all my thoughts on this.
This one's all you. I saw the light. I remember it. And it's really interesting hearing Tom Hiddleston with a country accent. Same with Elizabeth Olsen. But other than that, I'm just like, it's literally just another biopic about a southern country artist that, goes down the road of alcoholism and stuff, and, ends up passing away because of it. So I'm just like, yeah. So your thoughts? So
it's the movies. I saw the light. It does have Tom Hiddleston and Elizabeth Olsen playing our leads. It's playing Hank Williams and Audrey Williams. They do really well with the script they're given. And my main issue with the movie is they played it a little too safe.
Really?
Like, they did not go as far as they could have because of the time period where it takes place, everything Hank Williams was into. They could have gone darker with it. They kind of kept it a little, I wouldn't say nice, but like a little...
Grandiose?
Not grandiose, just... I guess because, like, his grandson is still around, they didn't want to get too into it, and it is like a legacy family, so it's like Hank Williams Jr., and Hank Williams III, all are in the country music world. They definitely could have gone further with it.
I think
they should
have done more closer to how...
they should have done it closer to Walk the Line.
Walk the Line, yeah.
I think the thing is, at least with Walk the Line, it has a happy ending.
That's true. And it also did help that... Weren't both of them helping with the film?
I believe June had already passed.
June already passed? Okay.
June might have already passed. Johnny was towards the end of his life.
Okay.
So
we'll get to that movie when we get to it.
That one's...
But back to I Saw the Light.
But Tom Hiddleston did such a good... Like, he gets the accent down really well. My other only little thing is Tom Hiddleston's voice is a good bit higher than Hank Williams is, so you can definitely hear the difference. It's not like with, like, Rocket Man, for example, where you can almost not really tell the difference between Taron Egerton and
Elton
John. Like, sometimes you can't really tell. And they couldn't really do what they did with Bohemian Rhapsody, which was just use Freddie's voice and have Rami Malek lip sync over it, because the songs came out so long ago. There is a drastic difference in tone quality now. So like they couldn't do modern day technology to make this film,
Right.
and then just have him lip sync over Hank Williams' voice, because
Well, he did a
there's a
decent
notable
job. I
difference.
remember his voice. I was like, wow, okay.
He
I
has a
I don't
good
listen to
voice.
Hank Williams, so I can't tell. You know,
Yeah.
like you've listened to his music, so you knew this doesn't exactly sound like him, but it's close enough to what he could do.
I think with this one, they really went for, okay, does the actor have a decent voice and look a lot like him? Because Tom Hiddleston does resemble Hank Williams a lot for this film. Like,
Okay,
they did a
I
good
was about
job
to ask that. Did
physically.
he at least look the part?
He did definitely look the part.
Okay.
And then he did a good job, with the actual performance.
Mm-hmm.
But the script didn't go as deep as it needed to. Like, it kind of
glaze the surface.
a little bit, just slightly deeper than surface level.
Okay. I do know that it did touch on his alcoholism.
Yeah, but
But like, who
because
didn't know? About
who didn't
that?
know about that?
Yeah.
And then, it touched on, cheating. But again, who didn't know about that?
Right.
They needed to go a little deeper. They needed to explore a little bit more of why the man was what he was.
Mm-hmm.
Which, it's kind of it's kind of a coin flip with biopics. Are they gonna actually dig deep enough to really tell the story, or are they gonna kind of keep it surface level? If the actor's performance itself is good enough, I will still watch the ones where the script is kind of surface level. That's why we have Bohemian Rhapsody. That's why we have this. But I do prefer the ones where they go a little deeper into what the person was actually like.
Fair enough. And the last one we're going to talk about is Joker. I enjoyed this film when it came out. I mean, Joaquin Phoenix just is one of the best actors of all time when it comes to acting. And you know, we get Robert De Niro and Zazie Beetz, which I think this was the first thing in Zazie Beetz I've seen, because I did not see Atlanta until years later. But yeah, I do recall people saying this seemed like a Joker version of a Martin Scorsese film. I don't remember the name right offhand. It's like The King of Comedy or something like that.
Yeah.
Which I've never seen before, so I can't say yes or no, or give my thoughts or opinions on that just in general. But I mean, it was really interesting seeing this kind of more mental look at the Joker and why he is. Of course, we got the sequel that kind of screwed with everything there, so
Like, they really shot themselves in the foot with that sequel,
They
because the
did.
first one's so good.
So, I haven't seen the second film, but from just the trailers and the plot subject alone, I'm like, I'm good.
And the spoilers we got.
Yeah, spoilers we got and all that stuff, and they're like, oh, it's, yeah, but I wasn't expecting this movie to be like the start of a whole nother Batman kind of thing, because this was still like when the DC was kind of like flipping a coin if it was going to be a good movie or a meh movie. So this was one of the good ones, and which is why it made just a crap ton of money. But yeah, but I don't know if I would recommend it to stuff. Like, I'm like, there's other movies with Joker in there that I prefer, and there's other Joaquin Phoenix movies that go into mental issues that I prefer. So this one's just kind of like, if you like both of those, then you should check this out. Or if you like King of Comedy, here's a Gotham version of it, I guess. But yeah, we did get a couple memes out of it though, so we got that. What are your thoughts on it?
I I really enjoyed this when it came out because it felt like a really good character study.
Yeah.
And I enjoy movies do that. It was like a good look at, what all could have happened to make this version of the character this way. This is not
just Joker in general, but just Joaquin Phoenix's version.
Joaquin Phoenix's version of the Joker.
Yeah.
It also like really felt like a good mirror to our healthcare system.
It did.
And the lack of a healthcare system.
Again, there's been movies like that in the past that do it and didn't do it better, in my opinion. This and that wasn't really even on the forefront for the most part. It was one of those movies where, like, at some times it wanted to do that, but other times it also wanted to tell just like a Joker film.
And that I feel like was director's vision versus studio's opinion. So like the studio's like, no, you need to do this and tell this, and he's like, but I really want to do this.
Yeah.
Because this needs to be told.
Yeah.
But to, kind of touch on issues with our healthcare system in a basically Batman universe.
Yep. It's Gotham. Bruce Wayne shows up.
Yeah.
Kid Bruce Wayne, and this is before the whole thing that makes him Batman. Thing.
But
yeah.
I feel like it was a little bit ahead of its time.
I don't know. I think it came out
with
right,
what it was trying to with
again
parts of what it was trying to say, because more people were just focusing on the kills, the brutality of it, the memes we can get out of it, Joaquin making weird faces.
Well, the memes came. I mean, you can make a meme out of the movie. I think it came out right when it needed to come out. It wasn't. It wasn't really saying anything that hadn't already been said before, as I said. It was just the newest coat of paint for what it was saying. It was, I guess, again, I haven't seen King Comedy, but I did see a lot of One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest in it.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, it's kind of telling the same story from a different point of view, but pretty kind of the same kind of issues being brought up. Along with some other films. But yeah, well, that's going to take us to the end of this video. If we skipped on any videos, or any movies between G and J that you think we should have talked about, and put recommendations in, and we'll check them out if they seem like something we'd be interested in. And we'll still got probably 2 or 3 more videos of drama before we close it out, move on to the next genre. So if you enjoyed this video, make sure to subscribe. We do this at the end of every month, so this is usually on the last day of the month. So this is coming out, we recording this early, but you're watching it on August 31st.
Yes.
31st. Until next time, thank you and have a good day.
Bye, everyone.